West 114th Street, opposite Columbia University in the Morningside Heights area of Manhattan, and over the airways of radio station WKCR-FM New York, 89.9 megacycles on your FM band, transmitting in stereo from the World Trade Center. We're jumping into the Jazz Weekend on an off night in the World Series and in an on night in music, because Big Nick Nicholas is on the West End Bandstand, where 7 years and 23 days ago he made his return to Big Apple Jazz action. And in fact, he celebrated the actual anniversary here at the West End on the 1st of October. And we're so glad he's back, because he always meant so much to the other musicians who he helped and taught, and to the sound of the tenor and the warm, deep sound of a voice that can talk and sing. Here's an example. How about saying something to the people, Big Nick?
Thank you very much, Phil. It's a pleasure being here, and deedle-lee and deedle-lum.
That's Big Nick Nicholas. How about a round of applause for our leader, Big Nick, on the tenor, saxophone, and vocals. His rhythm section, we have Bross Townsend on piano. Bross Townsend, as you can tell if you're seeing it, and we do invite you to come see it as well as hear it, after the broadcast, join us, is the saddest man in jazz, and you can tell by the way he plays and the way he looks while he's playing. And he has good reason to be sad. People used to complain about him every Monday night at Birdland. They'd say, that's not Count Basie. See, Frank Foster used to lead the Count Basie Orchestra at Birdland on Monday nights, but it was the band without Basie, and he had the difficult role, which he filled superbly, of playing in Count Basie's chair with the Basie Orchestra. Bross Townsend on the ivory. And here on bass is a face that is not Jimmy Butts, but he did play with Bird on 52nd Street, and he has played with so many artists that he probably doesn't want me to go into a long list. But if you want a surprise, how about someone who recorded with both Charlie Parker and with Bob Dylan? He's on Bob Dylan's first records, and he's on the bandstand, our first baseman, Leonard Gaskin. And since I said first baseman, I've introduced the topic of athletics. This man is an Olympian of the drums. He was at the Helsinki Olympics in 1952. He'll celebrate his 54th birthday in a few short months, and he looks great, plays great too. Billy Kay on the drums, formerly with Lou Donaldson. This is the Big Nick Nicholas Trio plus one. That's Big Nick, who's going to join the fun now by introducing the broadcast with Strayhorn's Raincheck. Opening up live from the West End, and yes, that was live, not on Memorex, was the big Nick Nicholas Quartet with a circa 40-41 Strayhorn composition, part of Ellingtonia, called Raincheck. The performers included Townsend on piano, Leonard Gaskin on bass, Billy Kay on the drums, and Big Nick Nicholas on the tenor saxophone. Again, it was Raincheck. My name is Phil Schaap. I get to host these fabulous sounds Friday nights from the West End Bandstand, which goes out audio-wise for a half hour over KCR's airways from 9 to 9:30 every Friday evening, and that's at 89.9 on your dial. Those of you just listening to it on WKCR might want to hear Big Nick will be playing through this jazz weekend at the West End, which is the uptown home for swing, on Broadway and West 114th Street. That's 2911 Broadway at West 114th Street. That's opposite Columbia University in the Morningside Heights area of Manhattan, and it's not too far from where Big Nick played for all those years, the Paradise Club on Central Park North. And indeed, when he was playing there, he used to help people like Coltrane, who wrote Big Nick for him. And one day, Big Nick was playing a ballad written by Bernard Duke, and he was playing it. And as always, there was lots of music around. If you were here at the West End, and some of you are, and I'm glad you're enjoying it, you see there's music out there and music there. There's music everywhere, including not on the bandstand. This is Big Nick's booth, and there's a whole stack of music. There's got to be at least 300 tunes there. And the top one is Autumn in New York, which he's written out by hand, and I know why, because his sheet music that he bought, he gave to Charlie Parker, said, I want that tune, and he recorded Autumn in New York with strings. Now we're going to hear Big Nick Nicholas doing another ballad from the American Songbook. This is a brilliant one by Hoagie Carmichael called Georgia.
Melodies brings memories, memories of a song that sings of Georgia, back where I belong. Georgia, Georgia, the whole day through, just an old sweet song keeps Georgia on my mind. Georgia, Georgia, a song of you comes as sweet and clear as moonlight through the pine. Other arms reach out to me, other eyes smile so tenderly, yet in peaceful dreams I see the road keep coming on back home to you. Whoa, Georgia, Georgia, no peace I find, just an old sweet song, keep Georgia on my mind. Other arms reach out to me. Other eyes smile so tenderly. Yet in peaceful dreams I see the road that leads right on back home to you. Oh, Georgia.
How about Big Nick Nicholas adding his vocal talents to the tenor saxophone for a wonderful portrayal of Georgia on My Mind, Hoagie Carmichael's tune. You might remember we pointed out the sheet music around here. I should also point out that for the first time in a long time, you heard Georgia not only sung, but with the verse. This man takes care of business. Big Nick Nicholas. You're listening to the sounds of jazz. You're hearing them live from the bandstand of the West End, the Uptown Home for Swing on Broadway at West 114th Street, where Big Nick played on his 7th anniversary of his return to Big Apple Jazz back on the 1st of October, and where he opened up a 5-day stay just a couple of days ago. He'll be here through the jazz weekend. If you can't get here tonight, well, he'll be here tomorrow night and Sunday night as well. The West End is on Broadway at West 114th Street. and that's opposite Columbia University, the Morningside Heights area of Manhattan. Live jazz heard every Friday night on KCR, a sample of the Jazz Weekend here at the West End. Friday nights from 9 to 9:30. The night's just starting. The broadcast has already passed its midpoint, and those of you listening might just want to meet as well as hear the great Big Nick Nicholas. So come up to the West End. Those of you listening to the broadcast, or those of you, of course, here at the West End, might remember a surprise that Big Nick threw us at the top of the set, Raincheck. Well, double surprise. Another Billy Strayhorn ballad, this from the other end of his association with the great Duke Ellington. In his hospital bed, which was his deathbed, he wrote one last ballad. And unfortunately, because of his illness, it was sort of titled Blood Count. But I might mention that he sent it down to Ellington at Carnegie Hall in March of '67, and all he called it was manuscript, and maybe that's even a more fitting title. Off the manuscript, you're going to hear Strayhorn's last composition, Blood Count, played by Big Nick Nicholas and his quartet.
Thank you, Bill.
You know, those who weren't at Carnegie Hall in March of '67 when Ellington was part of the Norman Grand Spectacular probably never thought that they'd hear that tune again. Now it's become something of a standard, excellent version in recent years by Stan Getz, a number of others. And here, those of you, of course, catching it in person at the West End saw it. Those of you on the air, catching it on the air, heard it. Blood Count performed in 1986. Big Nick Nicholas doing the Billy Strayhorn ballad. Well, we're just about into the home stretch of a half hour of sounds over the airways at WKCR-FM New York, but they're just warming up for Friday night action at the West End, and I hope those just listening join them. If not tonight, then tomorrow night, you know, after the game, they'll still be playing Sunday night as well. And this is Bross Townsend on piano. How about Leonard Gaskin on bass, Billy Kay on drums, and Big Nick Nicholas on tenor, saxophone, and vocals, the whole quartet. Phil Schaap by the bandstand of the West End, and we've got one more tune on the air, and you know what that one's going to be. It's time for him to sing, and this is the blues. It's not only authentic, it'll wipe you out. Watch out for this voice. Here it comes. Big Nick Nicholas with Corrina, Corrina.
Corrina, where have you been so long? Corrina, Corrina, where have you been so long? I had no good loving since you've been gone. Love Corrina from way across seas. Love Corrina from way across seas. If you see my baby, for God's sakes, please send her on back home to me. Love Corrina, tell the world that I do. Love Corrina, tell the world that I do. But I just don't like some of those little funny things that she do. stay last night. When you finally got home, it was broad daylight. Good God. Love you, mama, but you know you've done me wrong. I love you, baby, but you know you've done me wrong. I forgive you, mama, but for God's sakes, don't stay out all night. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.